We will call to order the Board of Zoning Appeals. Would you please stand for the pledge? Bill, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
And salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Gary Farley.
Here.
Veronica Buchanan.
Here.
Jerry Sartain.
Here.
Joe Machado.
Here.
William Harper.
Here.
Renee Curtis.
Here.
Zane Cantrell.
Present. We have a quorum. You have the minutes of the last meeting. Are there any changes or corrections to the minutes?
Move be approved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion to be approved? Have a second.
Harper
All those in
seconds.
favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like signs. They are approved. The first item of business is a request by Diane Rivera, who is requesting a variance relief of a 10-foot side yard setback. This would be up to 0 property line. What do you have on that, please?
Thank you. Application 2018-37 involves the property located at 4125 Avalon Place. It's a request for variance relief of 10 feet from the side yard setback of 10 feet for a structure located in the residential medium zoning district. And the applicant obtained a building permit to construct an addition to their existing home. And prior to construction of the addition, the building official met with the applicant on site to identify the setback limits. And there were no inspections until the final inspection that was called when the building department discovered that the structure had been constructed to the property line and encroached into the required side yard by 10 feet. The applicant was notified to come to our office and apply for a variance or to remove the portion of the structure to make the structure compliant. The applicant opted to apply for a variance, and that's why we are here tonight before you seeking this variance relief. The applicant has indicated that the affected property owner on the side yard that the structure is constructed is a family member, and this is the neighborhood. Excuse me, I can't. And we posted a sign on the property. We did not receive any calls in opposition or in favor of this request. And so as you can see, this is the neighboring property that's affected by the encroachment. This is the structure itself, and you can see it extends all the way to the fence line, which is the property line. Staff found that it did not meet all of the criteria for variance requests, and that's established in the staff findings. And that concludes our presentation.
Okay, the way we will proceed with this, those of you who have a request before us, we'll ask you to come and give any additional information and give the chance the board to ask any questions of you. After that, we will have a public hearing on each item for anyone who'd like to speak, either for or against, or ask for additional information about the request. Do we have anyone representing the Diane Rivera? If they will come forward, please. Come to the podium here and give us your name and any additional information you want to share with us. Just come on around.
Hello, my name is Roberto Mara. I'm just the interpreter for them. This is Mrs. Rivera, and this is his brother-in-law, which is the the guy affected by the property line, and he's also the family member. He got a permit.
Speak into the
He
microphone.
got a permit to construct, but I guess he didn't really understood that he can't go over the property line. He asked his brother-in-law if he could, extend it all the way up there because he wanted to do brick walls on the side and all that. And, he was okay with it, but he didn't know that he was going to get in trouble or I mean, he just really, right now they're trying to figure out what they can do to, fix this matter of an issue.
Did you realize that you were up against the property line?
I don't think that, no sabía que te pasaste de la línea. No, he didn't realize, how far his property line go, but because, where he put his post, but what it went over was like the overhang of the roof. That's what went over the, on his property line, but, he's okay with it.
Are you, who's the neighbor?
Him.
Okay, and this is okay with you? Do you approve this?
Could speak into the microphone and state
Yeah,
his
he
name.
say it's fine. For him, it's not an issue. He can, he can have it right there. It's not a problem whatsoever.
Do you understand what we're saying? Would you come forward and give us your name for the record?
Yeah, I am
Address.
Jesus Mora, Jose Jesus Mora. This is, well, this, I don't know speak in English, but can he interpret me?
Okay.
What? Mm-hmm. So,
All right, we have a question here.
You just got through stating that they did not know about the variance, I mean, not the variance, but they couldn't go up to the property line?
Yeah, they was not aware how far back he should went back with the, with the construction itself.
It's my understanding, and I want to hear testimony, but it's my understanding is they met with the building codes official, and they explained to them that where they could go and not go any further. That's my understanding.
Well, at first, when they met with the person, with the guy who gave him the permit, it was supposed to be in the back side of the house, but then they told them that they couldn't build there because they had some water lines because they have a pool in the back, and the lady told her they can build it on the on the side of the house where they have it, and what they failed to realize it was how far he can go back.
It's my understanding, again, that was explained to them how far they could go. And I want to have testimony today to find out. So you all are saying that did not happen?
No, sí les dijeron que tanto
Cuando ella vino, me enseñó cuánto era el septic tank.
Ajá.
Y me dijeron que ahí no, ella fue y me enseñó dónde puede hacer yo.
Pero nunca le dijeron que tanto se podía
No,
hacer.
no me dijo que puede hacer lo que yo quiera.
Okay, they said that when the lady came, they told them they couldn't build it because they had a septic tank on the back, and all they did was tell them that you can put it on the side of the house, but they never told him how far back he should go with the, with the porch.
Okay, so
Are you Diane? You want to step up there? Since you've made this request, don't be nervous about it. Just go ahead and try to answer.
The lady told me she came.
Pull the microphone down.
Sorry. She came to the house to see where the septic tank was located. Then it was in the front of the backyard. And then she showed me to the side yard where the pool at, and she told me like it was fine to build everything I want in that side.
So let me make sure I understand what you're saying. You're saying that nobody told you that you could not go up to the property line.
No, no one didn't tell me nothing about the property line.
It is okay. Well, if once they get through, I want to talk to building codes after if someone's here and find out.
I'm sorry?
I'd like to find out from building codes after they get through here. I want to find out from building codes their side of it as well.
Right. I was under the impression that someone from Building Codes would be here tonight. We did incorporate what Building Codes informed us, and the building official indicated that they did identify the setback limits to Ms. Rivera when they went on site. but there's not anyone
So,
here.
but what you're saying is, they have given you documentation that they did verify, and
Well,
it's opposite of what they're telling us tonight.
I have not received any documentation, but they have stated specifically that they did go out. And we meet after we get applications to talk about the applications with the building department, fire department, the engineering, and we discuss these applications and if they see any problems. And so when we were discussing this particular application that had come in, they specifically stated that they met with Ms. Rivera on site and explained to her the setback limits.
So
But
where I'm sitting at, I've got where they have stated to the planning department one thing, and you're stating to us tonight something that's opposite. You understand? So that puts this board in an awkward situation right now. So, you know, I will say this, I'm not going to speak for the board, I'll speak for myself. It puts me in an awkward situation to actually vote to allow you to do this. It don't meet the requirements. So with that being said, I'll defer to someone else, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions from the board? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Something. Is it possible that we can get in contact with building codes, or can we defer it? Because we need somebody here to verify this.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that you delay this until we get someone from the building codes to see if they have given the right information to these folks. Normally, we don't give approval for building right up next to the property line, even though it's somebody that lives next door to you. Now, here's the problem coming down the road, and it could happen to you. What if you bought this land, you know, you're going to sell out, people sell, you bought this land and you got a building right up next to your property line, and that's not quite what we want to do in this county. We're a growing county, and we're trying to do things the right way. And probably at this point in time, we need to get more information, and we would need to, if the board, I don't make the motions, understand? All right, if the board decides that they want to do something else, then we can do that. Bill, did you have?
I move that we defer to the next meeting.
We have a motion on the floor.
Second.
Do I have a second? But wait,
Do we not need to have a
I'm
public
sorry,
hearing?
I'm jumping ahead of time.
Yeah.
You know, I understand where you're going. We've got to have a public hearing on this first. So we'll open this for you may be seated. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this. Let the record show no one did. We'll close the public hearing, and I'll accept your motion now.
I move that we defer this to the next meeting and have the person from Building Codes here.
Okay.
I'll second it.
We have a second.
Who seconded that?
Gary and Joe had 2 seconds. Call the roll, please.
So the motion is to defer until the next meeting and to request that the building department is represented at the next meeting. Okay. For more information. So I'm not accustomed to doing this. So. Gary Farley,
Yes.
Veronica Buchanan,
Yes.
Joe Machoto,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
William Harper,
Yes.
Renee Curtis,
Yes.
and Zane Cantrell.
Yes. What we're going to do here, just so you'll understand, we're deferring this till next month or whenever we can get the building codes in here and hear what they have to say about it. So you would need to come back at the next meeting, contact our office, and they'll tell you for sure whether this comes back next month or the following month. So in order to get the building codes here. Okay? You understand? Okay, thank you. The next item of business is a request by Tamika Hicks, who is requesting a special exemption approval that does not meet the design standards. What do you have on that, please?
Thank you. Application 2018-38 involves the property at 3554 and 3560 Asbury Road. Mr. and Mrs. Hicks are seeking special exception approval to allow for an accessory dwelling unit on this 14.62 acre parcel. And the structure that they would like to obtain a permit to move onto the property is a double wide. And typically you would not need to have a double wide obtain approval for an accessory dwelling unit. However, the existence of the single wide family home on this property is triggering the requirement for the accessory dwelling unit to receive special exception. And we received a couple informational calls regarding this request, but no one has indicated opposition. There were some concerns regarding the property ownership itself. So this is existing single-family wide that we are considering tonight. And if you were to approve this application tonight, that would allow the applicant to obtain a permit to move the double wide onto the property. If this application is denied tonight, it would have no effect on the existing single wide family. Oh my goodness, I apologize. Tongue twisted tonight. So there will be no changes to the existing property unless you approve it. They will be able to obtain the permit for a double wide home on this property. Now there was back up to 2010 another home located on this property, but it has been removed and exceeded the 30 months that's allowed for grandfathering status. This is a surrounding area. It's a large property. The applicant does have options. If this is denied, they could seek to subdivide the property into 2 5-acre tracts or 7-acre tracts. However they like, they could go through that process. But the applicant elected to apply for special exception. So this is the location where the home would be placed. And this is the location of the double wide if it were to get approved. And it was actually the location of the home site that was existing up to 2010. We find that this application meets the criteria for accessory dwelling units, and we recommend approval.
Do we have anyone here representing this request? If you'll come around, please. If you'll just give us your name and any additional information you want to share about your request.
Hi, I'm Tamika Hicks, and I'm his wife.
Joseph Michael Higgs, and we're talking about the property. It's family property. My aunt used to stay there. I had the mobile home moved, cleaned off. Me and my wife is really trying to get a retirement spot, so we trying to just put a double wide on the property and live right there where our family was before. That's pretty much it.
Do you live on the property now?
No, it's only my cousin Faye.
All of this is going to be rental?
All that's my cousin Faye in a little single wide.
We're gonna live there.
Yeah, we're gonna live there.
Any questions? Renee?
You all have since it's owned by multiples, how do you all have the right to put this home there? Did you get it approved by other heirs?
Yeah, we got approved by the heirs, and all the family members agreed. And then, like I said, I had that paper I brought to, yeah, I got a family member that's an heir back in the
How many are there on the deed?
It's about 8 families.
Will you have to pay rent for that location?
No, they only existed to pay the taxes, just like my cousin does. She paid the taxes now, so if I move over there, we share taxes for the entire 14.76 acres.
What made you decide not to go ahead and subdivide like 5 acres off to make it clean, a little cleaner?
Well, we kind of, I don't know how to explain.
We try to keep the family.
We try to keep it family, you know, intact and whole, and you know, we just didn't want to break it up. We just want to move over.
Any other questions?
Are
Veronica?
you putting a mobile home there in case, are you putting it there so it can be mobile, or you may build a house one day, or?
Yeah, it's a mobile right now. That's all we want, that's what we want to put.
So you just gonna live in the mobile,
Yeah.
you're not gonna put a house there?
No, we're
Okay.
just trying to finish, yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you. May be seated. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this request. Close the public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry. We do have someone. We will not close the public hearing until you have a chance to speak.
How y'all doing today?
If you'll give us your name and any information.
My name is Tony Watkins, and I'm one of the heirs that's also part owner of this. I have no objections. I've talked to my sister. She has no objections. And like he said, nobody in the family has any objections to them putting the property there. I feel as though they have the right to do that because they're part heirs too. I mean, I don't know where it all came about to where they couldn't unless it was in the zoning. I understand about, I'm not with the zoning thing, but I feel as though they should be able to do it since it's our property.
I got a question, Mr. Chairman, just come to me. I wish I'd thought about it while they were up here. Is there any intent later on of other heirs putting on other mobile homes on this property?
Not to my knowledge, because basically everybody else has houses elsewhere. But like he said, we're just trying to keep everything within the family. We're trying to keep a lot of chaos down.
And the reason I asked that question, to be transparent, is that in the event that say the all 8 families wanted to put one on there, next thing you know, you got a manufactured home park and there that's,
Well, it's to my
all
understanding.
being rented out or something like
Well, it's
that.
to my understanding from other members that they wouldn't want to do that.
Okay. That was why I brought the question.
Okay, I understand. Any more questions?
Any other questions? Thank you. Appreciate you. Anyone else before we close the public hearing? Anyone else? Close the public hearing.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to be approved. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a second. Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Sorry. Was it seconded by Board Member Ms. Shadow? Okay. Gary Farley,
Yes.
Veronica Buchanan,
Yes.
Joe Machado,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
William Harper,
Yes.
Renee Curtis,
Yes.
and Zane Cantrell.
Yes. Your request has been approved. Thank you for being here. The next item is a request by Sergio Yance, who is requesting a special exemption approval for an accessory dwelling. What do you have on that, please?
Thank you. Application 2018-39 seeks special exception approval for an accessory dwelling unit that does not meet the design standards for ADUs involving a property located in the RM zone. The property is located at 105 Kingston Court, and it is a .51 acre parcel. And our accessory dwelling unit regulations require a minimum of 1 acre. If a property cannot demonstrate that minimum 1 acre land size, they would have to obtain special exception approval for the accessory dwelling unit. And so that is why this application is being presented to you tonight. The applicant wishes to convert the second floor of their existing dwelling and to construct a separate entrance into the second floor to create a separate dwelling and living area for their disabled son. The applicant proposes to continue to reside in this residence. And we received a couple informational calls regarding this, but there were no calls in opposition. We posted a sign on the property. This is the neighborhood, the surrounding neighborhood. And we found that the request met the criteria for special exception approval. And that concludes it.
Do we have anyone here representing this request? Let the record show there's no one here. Usually when we don't have the requested person here, we'll defer action on that, give them a chance to come back next time. I assume you folks are here because you want to speak to the board? No? Okay.
Being it's on, we got it on the agenda, I want to make a statement. You know, I've got an issue with something like this. I understand why. I just feel like if it's ever sold, it's going to turn into rental, and you know, as well. And then you got two different families living in something that was designed for a single family dwelling. And I just have a concern with something like this. It would be nice, and I want them to be able to take care of their disabled son. It would be nice if it was done like an expandable, and not have its own entrance, and you know, and not become a duplex. Let it still be a single family dwelling in that manner, and they still can take care of their son that's disabled, and still have as a 1 and 2 family dwelling. That's kind of my thoughts on it, and my concern.
We can have a public hearing on this. Do you feel that you want to make a motion, or do you want to delay this and give those people time to come?
I think we need to defer it like we always have on others. I just want to make sure I got my thoughts out before I forgot about them, and just in case I'm not able to be here next month.
Okay. We'll defer the public hearing since there's no one here to speak on that. Do we have anyone who wants to speak in a public hearing on this request? You do? If you'll come forward.
Okay, do you want to open the public hearing?
Yes, this is an open public hearing.
My name's Buddy Towery. I live out in McNeil Farms. I've been in construction for 40 some odd years. I'm retired now, but it appears to me that a half-acre lot, and you said it was .51, that'd be a half-acre, wouldn't it? If that is on a septic system, that's not adequate to support a two-family dwelling. Y'all got into this out in Christiana a few years back, where you was crowding the lot size with the septic system, and that contractor, it bankrupted him straightening it out.
Yeah, let me explain one thing about that. We don't have anything to do with that septic system, but the health department does, and they can't do anything unless it meets their standards of the septic system.
Well,
if it doesn't, they can't build it.
There's still going to be a problem if you crowd that type septic system on a lot that small.
Yeah. But that's something that the health department, is there any other reasons that you would be opposed to?
No, that just concerns, because I am in the mechanical piping, and I'm aware of what a soil sample has to do.
Well, that's something that the health department, you know, there's still hurdles that they would have to go through, but we appreciate your concern. Anyone else? We'll close the public hearing now.
I move to defer this till we can get the applicant in here.
Harper seconds.
I had a quick question. When were they put on the agenda, and why were they not aware that they were supposed to be here?
Well, we send a letter out to the applicant along with a copy of the staff report, and that letter contains instructions on the date and the time. I've not personally heard from the applicant over the past month, so if there was any issue with the date of the meeting, I'm assuming that they would call us and let us know. I'm not aware of any return letters that have been returned to our office because it was undeliverable. So sometimes applicants don't show up. And so we can, you know.
We usually don't make a decision on it when we don't have the applicant here. So you can do.
So they have at least once, you know, they get one. How many times do we defer it if they don't show?
It's
there a
up
policy?
to 90 days.
Pardon?
Up to 90 days.
Up to 90 days. So that's like 3 months. They can have, okay. All right, thank you.
Did you make a motion on that? Gary, did you? Joe? Okay. Okay, do we have a second? You second?
Harper, second.
Okay, you got that?
So it's Machoto and Harper.
Yeah.
Okay, to defer.
We have a motion that be delayed. We have a second to the motion. Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
I just want to go on record, in case I'm not able to make it next month. That's my feelings and on the situation that I spoke
Well,
about.
they'll have to make contact with the applicant to make sure, maybe they don't want to go any further with it. I don't know. It's kind of strange that they're not here. So we have a motion and a second for delay, and they will get in contact with the applicant to find out what they'd like to do.
Amen.
Call the roll, please.
Gary Farley,
Yes.
Veronica Buchanan,
Yes.
Joe Machoto,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
William Harper,
Yes.
Renee Curtis,
Yes.
and Zane Cantrell.
Yes. Do you have anything else for the board?
No, I do not.
Okay, next month, remember, we'll be electing officers. So, and then we have a couple of items on the agenda besides that. Is that right? Maybe.
That is correct.
Okay. We are adjourned. Thank you.